Hello, welcome back to Chaos Cafe. I am your host, Jen, and here are my beautiful hosts today, Chris,
Hello.
Shadow,
Oh,
Sophia,
hi, hi.
and Tori.
Stole my intro.
I stole your intro.
No, I was gonna say hi, Sophia. What the hell?
What was he supposed to do?
Same wavelength.
We share the
But
same brain
today,
cell.
I know, right?
All of us really do share a brain cell.
Mhm.
Based on the shit that happened with Cait last night, yeah.
Oh, we're on something.
Bro, last night, last night we were watching movies and Sophia said something about it's gonna be a good time, and both me and Kate at the same time went, ooh.
I remember. But today's episode, we decided to do a little something spooky. Even though it's still July, we're all ready for October, okay? Halloween season is upon us. In fact, there was a fucking what is it called? A spirit Halloween, like that is set up already. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not mad. I love Halloween. Spooky season is upon us. And with spooky season comes the paranormal. And a lot of us have experienced that. And some of us, aka Chris, is haunted.
Yes, I am.
Shadow, you want to explain why he's haunted?
Okay, look. I got a hotel room, okay?
Mhm.
I thought it was normal. I come inside. Chris doesn't tell me, hey, we have like flickering lights. He don't tell me nothing. I take a shower. I'm done. I get in bed because it's like one room for just two people. And I'm like, okay, this is a good night. Let me close my eyes. And then the radio turns on. Static noise. Like Silent Hill.
Oh no.
Lord Jesus, I was like, not today, not today. Unplug all of this shit.
Wanting many power sources in this bitch.
Right?
Like fucking walk outside and turn the breaker for the whole hotel off.
Oh my god. Things still turn on? Oh hell no, I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving.
Spend the night in the church.
Right? So, like, explain.
Listen, nothing has happened as far as the radio, so we've been good so far. Oh, that's right. Never mind.
What happened?
Oh no.
That's
Oh
right.
no.
I think it was like a day after the AC stopped working, so we had
Right.
to reset it. Yeah, never mind. Never mind.
Oh my god. Or, like, what happens at your house, Chris?
So much shit. Let's see. There was one time I was doing laundry, and I was walking up the stairs when I heard a disembodied voice whisper in my ear, asking me what I'm doing. And then there was, I see a lot of shadow peoples.
Did you answer their question?
I did, but they didn't respond back, which is a little disappointing.
A little rude.
Yeah. I've had my TV turn on and off by itself multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
There was actually a recent time where my tablet unlocked by itself.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Games on your tablet.
Right. A lot of dreams about departed family members.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I've had a really crazy ride with the paranormal.
Right. What's your like craziest story?
The creepiest story?
Craziest or creepiest?
Craziest, creepiest. I don't know. Probably the disembodied voices, because that's like the most I've experienced as far as direct, if that makes
Right.
any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I have yet to see apparitions. I haven't seen any apparitions yet.
Ah,
So
okay. That's okay. You're lucky. Got it.
yeah, so far.
Shadow, do you have any spoopy stories?
Okay. I have like 2 spooky stories that I can remember as a kid. Because honestly, by the time I turned like 15, all scary stuff, I was like, it only exists in movies. I mean, I know it's real, but movies. Um,
Right.
so the first time I ever thought I saw anything was I was at, we were living at some apartment place. I think I was like 4, and I walked down the stairs, which is like a big feat for me because stairs are already scary. They squeak, they make all types of noise because
Mhm.
I wanted water.
Right.
Now I'm like, I see the kitchen, it's to my right, and I'm like, I'm gonna go in. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, like the left side of the left side, I felt like I saw something like move, and I froze, and I was like, oh no 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 no, because right in front of me is this hallway that leads to the front door. So I'm just like, do I take the chance, make a right, grab water, run upstairs, or do I turn around, run upstairs, and go to my room? I ran upstairs. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Not tonight. No, no.
You went to bed thirsty.
hmm And the second time, I believe this is when I was roughly like maybe 10 or 11. And then
Right.
this experience is what made me like want to not believe in ghosts, but like
Mhm.
believe in them. So, like my culture and in my family, we're really big on like spiritualism and all that like
Right.
ghosts, like talking to ancestors and whatnot. So
Mhm.
there's this one event that we went to. Apparently, I met like a bunch of cousins, uncles. I'm like, cool. I don't know who you are, but cool. And then in this event, there is this really big warehouse that one of my uncle owns, and it's really haunted. And they brought over the family for like moral support and like to gain more power for the shamans to use. So we have like 4 or 5 shamans there. My parents are there. Some cousins I kind of know are there. Some uncles I know are there, and we're all together in this big warehouse because it's on a farm. And like we first kind of started off as a party thing. We do a little ritual stuff, a little sacrificing here and there, and then literally midnight is like a couple minutes, and all the parents are like, "All right, get the kids out of the warehouse. Everyone move to your cars, or like move inside the main farmhouse. We gotta go." And then every parent, it's like, boom, like all of a sudden you see parents just grabbing the kids, running, 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 and I'm just standing there because because the stupid kid I am, I separated from my family. So I'm standing there and I'm like,
Aw,
where's
that's
my mom and dad? I don't know.
oh no.
Lord. And so in the middle of that warehouse, we have this huge big a big can. I don't know how it's called, canister can. We have like a fire going in it. And then we have the sacrifices on a table next to it. And like the shamans are surrounding that can of fire. And as the shamans are telling everyone, grab your kids and get out, literally a couple minutes until midnight, like all we hear is pounding on the roof of the warehouse. And I look up and I'm like, what the is up? What is this? Because literally it was loud. It was so loud, it was scary. Because if you imagine warehouse, like there's the vents, right? If you look up,
Mm-hmm.
it sounded like someone was pounding in those vents. And then all of a sudden,
Oh.
right? And all of a sudden, like there are 3 entrances to this warehouse. So like imagine 4 walls. There's 3 entrances. Everyone's trying to exit out all 3 entrances. Uh, 2 entrances are closed, so there's only one that's open that's left. That one that's open that's left that everyone's leaving out of. all of a sudden you hear pounding from a vent that's close to that entrance, and then the pounding gets louder and louder, and it's starting to move closer towards the middle where the canister is and where the shamans are. And me, like I said, I separated from my family members. I was in the middle.
Oh no.
The shamans, they didn't even know I was there, because next thing they know it, like they look around to make sure everyone's gone. They see me and they're like, "Where's your mom? Where's your dad?" And I was just like, "What is that?" I literally saw some like weird shadow looking like thing inside the vents.
Ew.
Like there was red eyes, and I freaked out. And the shamans looked up and they were like, "Oh my god, no!" All of a sudden, you hear that weird pounding just get loud and start running all across the vents
Oh my
inside the
god.
warehouse. And then one of the shamans literally grabbed me by the arm and said, "I don't care where your parents are. We have to get you out of here." We run to the last remaining door open. He throws me out, locks the door, and all I do hear is chanting inside that warehouse. And I was like on the floor, and my parents literally ran and was like, "Oh my god, where were you?" And I was just like, like I cried like a little girl. And I was like, "Never again, you guys. I don't want to see a ghost. I don't need to see ghosts. I'm fine with movies."
What the? Okay, first of all, what was these sacrifices? I mean,
Yeah.
like, what were they?
Like a bird.
So yeah, we sacrificed chickens, pigs, cows, goats.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, this is
But
what
we eat it all, but yeah.
I don't fuck with that shit. No, 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 no.
Neither.
Nah.
It's so funny watching Chris because he's reacting to this in real time because they're in the same room.
Yeah.
So literally, Chris is literally in the room staring at Shadow like,
Yeah.
Oh my god. Dude, that's scary. What the?
I mean, even I've never been through anything like that.
Yeah.
I haven't been through anything quite that extreme, but I have seen some
Right.
shit.
All right, tell us yours next then.
Bro, I got so many fucking stories, dude. Okay, so the most recent ones was I've moved around quite a bit. Like a lot. And one of the houses that we lived in, the last house we lived in before where I live now. Unfortunately, this house I haven't had any problems. Mostly. My parents, I get left home alone sometimes, and this house was built in like the 60s, so there's a lot of creaking and groaning that the house does. And sometimes I see shit and I don't know if I'm seeing shit, or if I'm like tripping because I'm home alone and freaking myself out. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But in the house that we lived in previous to this one, it was a house that got foreclosed on, and my sister and her ex-husband, they bought it very quickly for way under market value. I think it was valued at like maybe I want to say it was valued at like $250,000 for the house, but because of the neighborhood it was in, I think the house was like $100,000. Like it was way undervalued, and it was also
That's shady.
Well, bro, okay, so if you're not from Amarillo, I went to high school on the north side of Amarillo, and the north side of Amarillo is what is basically the ghetto here.
Right.
And I lived on the north side. So, that house is on the north side. And like the houses around it are honestly, they could legally be called shoeboxes. They're itty bitty. Maybe like some of their houses honestly might be maybe 200-300 square feet. They're
All right, that's
itty
fucking
bitty.
small. Right.
Yeah, itty bitty, and they're like full on houses. So, but my house that we lived in, it was the only 2-story house like anywhere in the vicinity. The only thing that was actually like 2 stories aside from the house was an abandoned apartment complex a couple blocks away. I'm not even gonna fucking talk about that apartment complex. That shit was fucking crazy, dude.
Abandoned. That's all.
Yeah, abandoned, and also had been like shot up like probably 15 times in the year that I lived in that house, and also haunted as a motherfucker. I'm not even gonna make. I won't. I refuse to go near that place at all. There also is an abandoned hospital on the boulevard in Amarillo.
Jesus.
I ain't going near that shit either. A lot of my friends, bro, I'm like, you kind of have to take it seriously when me, white girl, is telling you don't go in the hospital.
That's true, because you guys are always curious.
Bro, if a white person is telling you don't go in the haunted hospital, don't fucking go.
Yeah.
So back to that, the house that we lived in. The house that we lived in originally was the same size as the houses around it, so it was pretty small. But at one point, this is what all I was told, so it's kind of second, third-hand information. But basically, the house had burned down at some point, and they decided to rebuild it and build it up bigger. So not only did they extend how wide the house was, they also added the second floor, and there's also like a big ass driveway, and basically, if that house was not in that neighborhood, it would have been sold at value.
Right.
So we lived at that house, and I lived there for a year, and my sister lived there for a lot longer than I did, but my mom got married, we moved out. Long story. But whenever we lived there, my brother-in-law's mom, her name was Marie, or is Marie, yeah. Marie she's always been super sensitive to stuff like that. And in some ways, she's also been told that none of that shit's real, so stop talking about it, you know? How Hispanic families tend to act about certain things.
Yes.
It's either like, you don't fuck with that shit, or that stuff's not real, stop talking about it. So she was always kind of sensitive to that stuff. And she had come up with her husband to visit us and see my nephews and see her son and my sister, family visit, right? And we had the layout of our house was really fucking weird, because like our living room was really long and narrow, and like the staircase to go upstairs was also in the living room. And then my mom had this massive bedroom on the first floor, and like there's just like a lot of turns and like a hallway to nowhere in that house, and a lot of the layout of the house did not make any fucking sense at all. But on the first floor, the back door, when you came in the back door, you could either go into the kitchen, or you could go to the left, and there's a hallway that goes to my mom's bedroom, or the hallway to the left splits in two ways. It either went down to my mom's room, living room, and right at the split where the living room was, there's a big ass fish tank, like a 100-gallon fish tank, and the light fish tank shone at an angle towards the split between the living room and my mom's hallway. And whenever Marie had come to visit, she said that she saw like a shadow break the lines of the light in the hallway towards my mom's room. And it wasn't like, and she said that based on like the feelings she got from him, he wasn't bad. He was just an old man that was stuck. And he was just kind of not necessarily stuck in a loop, but stuck just living his life, I guess, or his afterlife in the house. And he didn't really. He never did anything. That was the only thing I had ever heard of it, was whenever she said that she saw him walking in the hallway. And she saw him break the light lines, but that was it. And then the other thing in that house as well was my bedroom was directly on top of my mom's. I think y'all may have heard this story before, but the bedroom that I had was directly above my mom's, and my mom worked the night shift, so she would go in at I think 4:00, and she would get off at 2 in the morning. So she would get home in between 2 and 3 in the morning, and yeah, super fucking late, dude.
Yeah.
So she would get home super late, and whenever she would get home, she would just go straight to her room, and she referred to it as it sounded like I was playing hockey in my bedroom. And she would text me, she would call me, and blow up my phone, tell me to get my ass to bed. Because at the time I was in middle school, I think. Yeah, 8th grade. So I still had a bedtime because I was a child. And she's like, "What the fuck are you doing awake? Go to bed. You need to get your ass to sleep, blah, blah, blah." And she would climb up the stairs and go in my room, fucking swing that shit open and wake my ass up. And I'd be like dead asleep and she'd be confused as shit and just go back to her room and she'd hear more of it. And she thought she was like tripping balls. So, and then eventually my my mom and my stepdad got together and he moved to here from Seattle. And whenever he moved here, he was staying in my mom's room with her while they looked for another place to move into, which is where we live now. And he heard the same thing and they both looked at each other like, "Are we hearing shit? What the fuck?" And sure, my mom goes up the stairs, looks at my room, and I'm not among the living anymore because I'm dead to the world, sleeping like a rock. And she is super confused, and like there's literally a hockey match going on in my room. Come to find out, my sister's husband, or ex-husband now, but he had 2 little kids attached to him.
Ew.
Um,
Oh no. Y'all know I don't believe in ghost children. Ooh.
Bro, it's like apparently like 2 little kids, and Marie said, I think it was Marie that said it. She said that they were 2 little girls. And that's why they hung out in my room, because my nephews, my sister doesn't have any girls, she only has boys. So even during the summer when my brother-in-law would come in or would have he had another son from a previous relationship. Even whenever he was there was 3 boys in the house. There was my 2 nephews and then his son, and I was the only girl. So at the time I'm like 11 or 12. So a little girl to hang out in a girl's room kind of makes sense. So they'd be like fucking chasing each other in my room and stuff. But the thing too is like I would sometimes be awake when my mom would hear this stuff and I wouldn't get out of bed and she would yell at me to go to bed because she could hear it. I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't hear anything and there's nothing moving in my room." So I have no fucking idea what she was talking about, but my mom has got plenty of ghost stories that I do believe, so I have no reason to call her a liar, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just at that house. The house we lived at previously was on an a former military base.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
The plan.
whenever my grandma haunted that house.
Stop.
Yeah. Okay. So my grandma, she's a very stubborn woman. If she wanted something done, she was gonna and you didn't do it, she's gonna pester you and bug you and bug you and bug you and get on your fucking nerves until you did it and did it the way she wanted. A very headstrong woman. Her wish when she passed away was that she wanted her ashes scattered at on her family's land from when she was a kid. Her children did not fucking listen.
Oh no.
Yeah, so they broke up her ashes and she used to collect salt and pepper shakers. And so they split up her ashes among a couple of the kids and they put her in the salt and pepper shakers.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I don't question it, dude. So my mom had one. I think like 3 of my uncles had them as well.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is one of my mom has 7 brothers.
Ooh.
So, and she's the only girl.
Yikes.
Yeah, so they she I hate it. She basically my mom had these, do y'all know what curio cabinets are?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're like those fancy schmancy candles. From the editor, Sandy has said, so you can literally season your food with grandma. Sandy, no.
That's why I said, what if you make a mistake? What if you accidentally
Yeah.
Oh no,
Whoa.
that's why she was in a curio
grandma's
cabinet, so she stayed in the cabinet. No one opened the cabinet, she stayed in the cabinet.
Okay.
And in that house,
Wow.
Sandy, no.
No.
So my mom had like I think pictures of her in that cabinet as well as like her ashes, and it was maybe I want to say my oldest nephew, not my okay. So I have two nephews from my sister. The oldest one now is 11, and the youngest one turns 8 in October. So at the time, I think the youngest hadn't been born, but born yet, but the oldest had been maybe a year and a half, somewhere in there. And he would talk to the cabinet.
Ew.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
hell
would
no.
he would literally he'd sit on the floor and talk to it, or he used to collect monster trucks and he would show them to the cabinet. He would talk to
Mhm.
it, he would sit next to it, he'd run away from it.
Oh my god.
And then he started having nightmares, like really bad nightmares. Yeah.
Oh.
And at the time I shared a room with him. So there would be some mornings when I would wake up and there would be a child in my bed. He would just he would wake up at like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning screaming and terrified. And he would just get in bed with me because, I'm protective. He'd just crawl in bed with his TT. Um, and he would go back to sleep. And then I had to get up early as shit in the morning to catch the bus for school. But, yeah, he would get in bed with me. And eventually, my mom kind of was like, it had gotten, it was progressively getting worse and worse, like the nightmares and stuff. And my mom was starting to get really worried about him. So she started talking to her brothers and like, we have to do something. You know how stubborn our mother was. We got to do something. We got to do what she wants. So they did what she wants, and the nightmare stopped. And he stopped talking to the cabinet, and he stopped talking to it. He stopped sitting next to it. He stopped having the nightmares. It was just like everything stopped, and he was fine. And um, even at one point, there was a couple times where if you walk by the cabinet, it would smell like pepper. And my mom said that that my grandma she used to fart and blame it on other people. And they were like, "Well, what if we put her in the pepper shaker?" And that's why. Yeah, so there's that. And then also at that house, so the house was kind of L-shaped. When you come in the front door, to the right was a door to the kitchen that kind of went behind the front door. Whereas if you went straight, it would be the living room and then a hallway down to the bedrooms. But in the kitchen, there was a window right above the sink, and you could see anyone that went to the front door. So if you were doing the dishes and you were looking down, out of your peripherals, you could see someone's head walk under the window. And you would expect someone to knock on the door, ring the doorbell, so you'd walk around to the door and you'd open it, no one there. And it happened all the time. It was a part of my chores to do the dishes. So I would see that shit all the time, and I just got used to it. And I mentioned it to my mom, and she said she had seen it too. And then my mom mentioned it to my sister, and my sister had seen it too. And then we were going to mention it to my brother-in-law, but he said that none of that shit is real and we should stop talking about it. So, yeah, we were basically, he told us to stop talking about it because that doesn't actually happen. And we're just seeing things. And sometimes it would change too, because sometimes based on how far you were looking, you could see the side of the shoulder of their shirt. And sometimes it would be blue, sometimes it'd be red. Most of the time it switched off between blue and red, but so you could see the color of their shirt. So nothing ever came of that. You would just see someone walk by the door and that was it. But
Right.
In a house I lived in previous to that,
Jesus.
2 houses before that one, it was in San Antonio, and my mom at the time had a roommate that was a friend that she met in the town we lived in previous to San Antonio. So her name was Shay. Shay is a sweetheart. Basically, the reason why I kind of branched off away from Catholicism into being a witch. Um, she is also like the reason that I love Harry Potter and I love like witchy kind of spooky things. Like she is a big reason of a lot of the stuff that I like. Um, she was a witch, or she still is. She also like she collected so many cool things, and at the time she was living in she moved in with my mom and she was a roommate. And there was one night, me and my mom, we had our couches kind of set up in like a curve around the corner, and then our TV was in the other opposite corner. And to the right of the couch that my mom was sitting on, there's the hallway that went back to the bedrooms, and then the hallway that went to the front door and Shay's bedroom. And me and my mom are sitting on the couch. I think it was really, really late, like maybe 11 or midnight. And at this time, I'm in like elementary school, so sometimes my mom would let me stay up till midnight watching those like weird TV shows where they teach you how to paint. Yeah, so I think one of them, at one point we were watching Bob Ross. At another point there was a lady that was teaching us how to paint, and me and my mom would just sit there and watch those together. It was like our thing sometimes. But there was one night we were sitting, I had the couch to myself and my mom had like a big like chair. It was it's not really a chair. It's like in between a chair and a love seat because it was like really wide. Like, you put, like, 2 people in the chair, but it's still a chair. Does that make sense? So my mom is sitting in her chair, I have the couch to myself, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Shay. And I asked my mom, "When did Shay get here? I thought she was out of town." And she's like, "She's not here. What are you talking about?" I was like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "What are you talking about? What did you see?" And I was like, "I saw Shay, but she had a white nightgown on." And, it's like, "Oh." Uh, Apparently, I had saw, Shay's mom, and she had passed away in a nightgown, and she was just standing in the hallway. Yeah, like the entrance to the bedrooms of the hallway. Um, uh, she, from what I understand, she never did anything bad. Like she wasn't like a malevolent spirit or anything like that. I think she just stayed wherever Shay was to keep an eye on her.
That makes sense.
So even though Shay wasn't home, she still kind of kept an eye on her and all that.
Right.
I think that might be the last story that I have. That's mine, anyways. I've got tons from my mom
Nice.
because
Yeah.
my mom. Yeah, my mom.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's the same with like my family. They have a bunch from them.
Bro,
I want to hear.
so many.
Sophia, we want to hear from you next. Any spoopiness?
I have 2 that happened at work.
Ooh.
Also, my best friend is sort of cursed just a little bit. He had a bunch of stuff happening at his house. If you guys want to hear about that after the 2 thingies at work. But one of the first ones was this was like a couple of years ago, back when I was in high school. We had just had a party come in. There were some kids, and like everyone was pretty much on their break. Pretty much how it works in sort of the setup is there's a big sort of there's the dining room, then there's the kitchen, and to the left of the kitchen is the dishwasher area. And I was only one in the kitchen. My other coworkers were either in the bathroom or doing something else. and I was putting back on my gloves because I had essentially had a break, and I was putting them back on, and I was like to the very right of the kitchen. And I was turned away from pretty much anyone. Turned away from the window where I could hear pretty much anything. And I was putting back on my gloves, and suddenly I feel like something near my waist. It felt like a kid. It didn't feel bad. It felt like an okay spirit, but I just heard a very sort of high-pitched voice, like a kid, probably like 9, something like that, say something, and it was almost words. It felt like a voice that wasn't fully clear, like a voice that's like almost fuzzy.
Right.
You could tell that it was a full, distinct sentence, but I couldn't fully hear it. Turn around, no one. I was like, the only kids that could have been near us was in that party, and the party had left like 5-10 minutes ago. I was like, what the fuck? And then my coworker comes back. He's a dude. He has a deep voice, so it couldn't have been him. And I was like, what just happened? I was very concerned. And then the next thing, I was mopping at the very end of the night. I was the only one. And again, the washroom is like right sort of to the left of us. I was mopping, and then I heard this almost, I could tell. The thing is, my sister is she's sort of, she knows about that sort of shit. She's very in tune with it. And she's told us about this man. But it was the first time that I had heard him. And she hadn't said anything about him before. So I was there was music playing, and I was just doing stuff, and then I hear very clearly this sort of deep black man's voice just do like a little like ooh, like in the washroom. I was like, oh. And the thing is, that man, he's not rude to anyone of the kitchen staff or anywhere that goes back there. But if you are angry, like there's the washroom and there's a little room to a back hallway. If you are mad in there, your anger heightens. It gets really, those are the times when I've been in there, and if I'm mad at my manager, who is my aunt, if I am mad at her, it gets like to like really high. He really doesn't like my aunt at all. He like messes with her. She'll like misplace things, and it's because of him. Really doesn't like him. This spirit apparently has been here since like for a while. There was someone else who had been in there before we had ever been in the restaurant since like the 60s. They've been in there, so probably like the 40s, around there.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So yeah, that is those two work experiences.
Okay.
My best friend, he has some spirits in his house.
Right.
Interesting. Like I had originally because this home it's like a 2-bedroom home, and it was at $500 for the rent.
Oh,
and
damn.
it was signed very quickly. The lady gave him the house very quickly, and we knew why. Yes.
Shady.
She also never comes around, and I think it's because of the ghost.
Haunted.
Yeah. So essentially, like there was this one time that I remember specifically where it interacted around me, because he'll tell me like a bunch of things that'll happen. It doesn't happen as often now, but like I was putting away some things in the kitchen, and I asked him a question. He was in like his bedroom or his bathroom, something like that. And then on the wall, like near me, up above my head, I just hear boom, boom, and like in like response, and I was like, "Seth, did you fucking do that?" And he was like, "No," and I was like, "God damn these fucking ghosts! I hate it." There's specifically one that's attached to him. I think it might be better now, but there's the one that's attached to him. He is a crazy bastard. There are two spirits to the house that had lived there a while ago. They are scared of the crazy bastard. And just because of that, want Seth to go away. So they'll do stuff to scare him to leave, but he has not left. So this ghost has been around for a long time. Again, my sister like contacted Seth and was like, "Hey, this is the spirit. It's really not good." Apparently it's like a shadow sort of person. And the reason why that shadow people are shadow people is because it's been so long since they have passed that they do not remember what they looked like or how they were. That's why. That's why.
Oh damn! I just learned something.
Yeah, I did not know that either. But yeah.
Damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
All right, I guess it's my turn. Oh yes, go ahead.
My question is, have you ever had like past relatives like reach out to you in dreams and shit, trying to warn you about things?
No.
Nope.
Really? Bro, my mom and my sister have dreams about my grandma all the fucking time, and it's almost always at the exact same time. Like all the time. Like there's been a couple times where like my mom will have a dream about my grandma, and my mom will call, or my sister will call my mom, and my sister will be like, "Hey, I had a dream about grandma. Did you?" And she's like, "Yeah." And they just, it's usually related to something that's about to happen. Apparently, I think I want to say whenever my mom a couple of times has had dreams about her dad, and that usually doesn't mean anything good, but from what I remember, I might be wrong though.
It'll come back to you.
Eventually.
Yeah. Let's hear about your stories, Jen Jen.
Yeah.
I'll make it quick because like it's kind of like Chris in the sense that you know how Chris is haunted. So I'm thoroughly certain that my aunt and my cousin that used to live with me were haunted, especially because like they apparently they his mom was touched by the devil. So she has like a little devil birthmark on her body. And he was born with one too. And I think it's in the same location they have it. So I was like, well, that's nice. Good to know. So that's why creepy shit's been happening. And this was like in my old house when they were with us. And creepy shit would happen. Like my sister saw a shadow that was by the window where I slept near. And then she got so scared from it that she literally had to wait for my mom to come home. And she like literally just bolted out of the room and told her like I saw this like menacing shadowy thing and like they had to pray about it. And there was like a number of occasions where like I just hear shit all the time and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not gonna pay attention to it because if you pay attention to it, then it gets worse. But this one time, I was fucking around, and we had a walk-in closet. I was sitting in the closet, and I had like I have a camera that can record, and I was just sitting there, and it was just like, ghost adventuring bullshit, right? Where you're like, who's here, whatever, right? So then I would like
Mhm.
let long periods of time, just like with silence, and then when I went back to it and I was listening to it, I heard wind chimes,
Oh.
and there were no wind chimes around my house. And I was just like, what the? I think I looked it up one time, like, what does it mean when you hear wind chimes? I don't think it was anything good. I can't remember, but I was just like, that's the last time I did that because I didn't. I was like, I don't want to hear anything ever again. And the craziest thing that happened in that house was that this one night I was in my room having an emotional breakdown, and then my dad was with me. He was talking to me about something, and then apparently, like my older sister and my two older brothers and my other younger sister were downstairs in the living room. They were watching TV, chilling, and all of a sudden, the littlest sister, she was like, dude, she was so young, like she could not go down the stairs by herself at all, and she was upstairs sleeping. All of a sudden, she was downstairs, and nobody had gotten up and grabbed her. Like there was no way she was like, how the fuck did she go from upstairs to downstairs? So they were like, well, what the shit was going on? So they kind of like were trying to figure out what was going on, and then they kind of like start hearing some shit, right? And then my dad starts making his way from my room downstairs, and while he's walking down the stairs, he feels a sudden gust of like cold air, like just run past him. He was like, "What the fuck was that?" So then when he reaches downstairs, there's like he goes to the kitchen, and then he hears the garage door opening. So then he's like, "What? Like who's outside? Like who's opening the garage?" And then everyone literally rushes to the garage, and they see the door opening. And then my dad says, I saw someone run that way. And so then my brothers go and chase after like who it was, because we're thinking someone's trying to break in.
Mm-hmm.
And they see like bushes like moving, like someone's running through it, but they don't see anyone. And then they're looking around, and there's like literally no one. And we live in a cul-de-sac, so there was literally nowhere they could go without like the neighbors having like their light, because they had like motion detecting lights, and none of them went off. So like there was literally no one. So when they came back, and then that's when I joined everyone because I was still upstairs, and I came downstairs, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" And then my dad was like, "Yeah, there was a man in a white suit that had run past," and like apparently, I don't know if it's all like like myths or whatever, is that the devil tends to wear a white suit. So we're all pretty sure that we had the devil pay us a visit, and he took off running. And I was like, because like all this shit stopped happening when my cousin and his mom left. Like they moved to Texas. Sorry, Tori. But yeah, so I was just like, that's some bullshit. Y'all keep your cursed ass out of here. I was like, no, no, I don't want any of that. I, because like literally everything stopped happening once they left.
Uh-huh.
It was wild, man. But yeah, that was my like top creepiest shit that happened.
Oof.
Yep. Don't fuck with the devil.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Oh my god. But I think y'all want to wrap it up, or you guys anyone want to like
Oh,
throw out another story?
there was something that I remembered from my friend's house. Okay, so a key detail in this is that my best friend, he works on puppets, sells them for like a shit ton of money. No, hey. I mean that doesn't help. But like for the most part, nothing creepy with the puppets happens.
Ooh,
Okay.
Hey. They're my like one of our friends had just gotten a dog. So she came over to the house, and we were having a good time. And the closet in his workroom where we were like in was closed for the most part. He had one puppet that he had gotten when he was a kid, who like he had never ever wanted to sell because it was his. His mom had tried to get rid of it, but he got it back. And like suddenly like we were on like Omegle and stuff every once in a while, and we were in front of the computer, and then something happens to where the door of the closet opens.
Oh, fuck that.
And the dog is a pit bull, by the way. It was the cutest thing in the world. I loved it. The door opens, the pit bull sees the door open, it barks like so fucking much at the puppet that is in the thing. And I was like, oh no! And we closed the office and we calmed the dog down. And after that, I was like, hey, Amy, what the fuck's up with that puppet? What the fuck is up with that puppet? And she was like, okay, the spirit is not bad. It is a little girl who is killed.
No.
It's a little girl who was killed and attached to that puppet. It is not a rude spirit in any way. And eventually, the crazy one pushed the little girl out. It took too much of its energy, and she had to leave. So, yeah.
I don't know. Y'all see that?
Oh, that reminds me of one of the, apparently, I think when I was little, I had, one of the bedrooms that I had 2 closets. So I had, like a normal closet, and then the other one was like angled. So like once it got to a certain point, it like literally met the floor, is what the ceiling did. I used to talk to that closet, apparently.
What the?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I would like open the door and talk to it, apparently.
Oh my god.
Nothing ever happened after that, but that's all. That's what I've been told. Apparently, I was too small to remember it, but.
Are closets like portals to the spirit realm or some shit?
No. But,
I think it's because they're dark.
I know mirrors are.
Oh yeah, no mirrors for sure.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. If you have a mirror facing your bed, you need to be careful.
Oh, fuck.
I do not have such thing.
Yeah, because mirrors can trap things, as well as if they're facing your bed, they can trap you. Same thing. Yeah,
it's fine.
Same thing in general. If you're bringing a mirror into your house and you aren't gonna hang it up yet, but you're gonna leave it like face up on something, like on a bed or something, while you wait to hang it up, cover that shit up. Just cover it, because it can trap things. And then when you do hang it up, it's gonna stay there and fuck with you.
Ew.
Yeah, I used to also, if you, superstitions, dude, are fucking wild, but also, if you have a chair in your bedroom, you have to be really careful not to have a chair in your bedroom that faces your bed.
Right.
Because that's inviting something to watch you sleep.
Is it bad if it's a beanbag chair?
Wait. That's why I've always kind of joked about there being like a good reason for having a depression chair, because if you have shit in the chair, then they can't sit down.
True.
There's always stuff in that chair.
Does this apply to stools?
I don't know, honestly. I've always just been told like chairs in general, if you're like if they're in your bedroom and it's basically inviting something to watch you sleep.
Oh no, Chris, do you have a spirit watching you?
Shadow. We have a mirror in front of our bed and a chair right there.
Okay, honestly, if you have like a blanket or like an extra blanket or a flat sheet, that'll cover it fine. Especially if you're not using it, literally just pull it and tuck it over the corners and it'll stay there.
There you go. Do that. Also, tuck your toes in your blankets. You'll be safe.
I sleep with like the bottom half of my fucking shin out of my blanket and hanging off the bottom of my bed.
What is wrong with you?
You're dragged by the demons.
Bro, do we need to have like a fucking segue episode to monster fuckers?
Pretty much. I'm gonna say like we're gonna have to like do a part 2 to this because there's so much to talk about, and like we've reached the end of this episode. And does anyone have any final thoughts? Final wrap it up.
I think there needs to be a continuation of just like superstitions you were taught to avoid that shit.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Okay, that'll definitely be an episode. So keep a lookout, you listeners. Follow us on all of our social medias. They should be in the description down below. We finally have our Spotify working. We'll get all the episodes uploaded. So make sure to follow us there, and then make sure you like and comment on this video. And keep your toes tucked under your blanket, and you'll be safe from the spirits.
Unless you're me.
Unless you're Tori, who plays the danger. Okay, unless you're them who play a dangerous game.
Hey, I have to live up to my whiteness, okay?
Same.
You don't.
I do too.
I'll follow the white people. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I was gonna say, don't be white. To avoid being captured by spirits.
There were 3 people who were white on the spooky episode because
we do the dumb shit. That's why we have the stories.
Oh god.
Fucking.
I didn't see your thing.
Yo, just so you know, I'm gonna keep the long pause and don't be white in the full edit.